What is up, down, and sideways, all you beautiful individuals? It's another epi of League on Lock. Eric and Mark here with you today for the third penultimate day of MSI, the LPL Civil War. The third time is maybe the charm. They played twice in the LPL playoffs. We're talking AL versus BLG, and unfortunately, Billy is going in the opposite direction. They forced Game 5 in the upper bracket final of the LPL, went down to Game 4 in the LPL finals, and now we're sitting here with a clean sweep at the hands of Anyone's Legend. And that's not to say that this series wasn't competitive.
Right. There were absolutely plays, moments, things that happened for BLG that make you go, okay, they're cooking, they're trying to get it going and everything else, but always the answer, the response, the execution from this Anyone's Legend squad has been up to that task, and we've seen that in the LPL playoffs in their previous two best of fives. And even more of a definitive answer in this series where you get it in its 3 games. 3-0, a clean sweep from Anyone's Legend to secure themselves the next matchup against T1.
Feels like the new version JDG. BLG can beat everybody except for JDG when they match up. But have you ever seen a 5-man, not a 4-man, a 5-man Nico ulti into a 5-man Shurima Shuffle only for BLG to lose that team fight?
No, I've never seen that. You're talking about some of the most impactful mega team fight setting up type of things, and especially when it's womboed together, when you're getting that Nico ultimate, you're getting that shuffle right into it and everything else, and not being able to finish that job, not being able to execute all the way through, and having Anyone's Legend survive and get that fight back. That is a killing blow early in the series against them for BLG. Man, what an answer, though, that we get from Anyone's Legend throughout this series all the way through. I think you're looking at, again, Flandre putting up a very strong response against Bin in the top side. And I think as well, you're looking down at, I think, relatively speaking, a bounce back in performance at this event for the bottom lane. And as far as how cohesive and how much of a contributing factor I think they were to the game plan for this Anyone's Legend squad.
Yeah, and uncharacteristic some team fights, BLG, not being able to follow up on that wombo combo, not fully being on the same page, and the bot lane for the BLG side, as you just alluded to, especially Game 2, was that I haven't seen that version of Elk in a long time, and I haven't seen that version of Hope since we were back in the LPL, because Game 2 was just a Lucian highlight reel for the most part, and this guy was single-handedly the entire gold lead for AL, which is obviously dangerous because all BLG has to do is kill him in a team fight, and it's pretty much an even playing field, and they threw absolutely everything they possibly could to kill this Lucian throughout the game, and they never could.
To be honest, I throw Hope in the top 5 guys that I would trust at this point this year to have that type of gold lead for my squad. You're right that it is very much was an instance where all of the advantages, all of the resources, all of the opportunities were executed upon and gained for that bottom lane for Hope within that game, and being able to then navigate what we know as a mid-game, late game, where there is obviously that mega priority, that identification of you as that target priority to be the one taken out of a fight to change the way things go. Navigating it, keeping yourself alive, getting that damage and the skills, all that we saw there from him. I think that this was a very much a signature moment, frankly, for Hope and how he was able to step up and really deliver in this head-to-head. And for Elk and On, this is about as off, and again, don't mean that as in the pun that we always hear talking about On in these situations, but they're about as off as I've seen this duo be during their time of BLG. So certainly needing to hit that reset, needing to refigure things out again before getting back into the swing of summer.
And talk about the confidence out of Tabe and the boys in Pick Band. They take down Ben Jax in Game 1. They take down Knight Aurora in Game 2. These have terrorized teams around the globe. And then in Game 3, The pocket pick, Bin Fiora, Knight Sakali, Elk on Varus. These are like the staple picks for these players. And AL says, no problem. We got a good matchup on the other side. We got Shanks solo killing Knight on Annie? Who?
Oh man, this was something special. This was almost, kind of felt like a Thanos type of moment of ultimate, destruction in the LPL. That finally you're gonna get the, everything but the kitchen sink, everything old, reliable, trusty, and everything from BLG, and it's not enough. Because Anyone's Legend is up to the task. Shanks and crew find the way to make the performance happen. And yes, again, an even more definitive answer and end to this series of going, Anyone's Legend is the leading flag carrier of the LPL at this point.
Now, with the mental baggage, we'll say, from losing twice in the LPL playoffs, I wonder, would FlyQuest have put up a better fight against AL? They obviously took a game in their first matchup earlier in the tournament, and these are competitive games, 1 and 3 at the very least, but I don't know, maybe that's just me, having a little copium afterwards that Fly was eliminated. I feel like they might have put up more of a fight.
I think that's also me still being a little bit upset about how the way things ended in game 3.
I still got those glasses on, the rose-tinted glasses. So.
Yeah, I can certainly find the positive, the hopium again. Always got infinite supply of that stuff here in North America. But when we're looking at this and talking about where FlyQuest would have stood a chance, I think so. I think both FlyQuest and the Oysters, frankly, would have shown a little bit more in this series on the day and been more prepared for what Anyone's Legend had. Again, there's avenues to find good, to find positives here, things to build off of and try and rebound if you are BLG. But man, oh man, another nail in the coffin coming through. And again, the Panda Samurai knocking it home for the LPL.
And now, obviously, the quest gets a lot harder as the lone survivor of the LPL. It's been a long journey, but we only have 2 days of MSI action left. Call it finals weekend. We are down to 3. So how do we see this playing out? Obviously, whoever matches up against Gen G, who is playing Gen G number 1, and does either team have a shot against Gen G?
My heart wants it to be Anyone's Legend, and that's even coming from a bias of T1 fandom right here. I want to see Anyone's Legend get on through and get against a matchup, a rematch against Gen G in this type of tournament. I think when you're looking at the coaching staffs that have come through and how they prepare and what they can bring to the table, how they can adapt and motivate their players on a day, I think Tabe again continues to prove that he is one of the best, if not the best guy right now in the circuit, and who you could have and who you could trust in one of these options. You've seen that throughout Anyone's Legends run here, and especially I think in this matchup against BLG. And they're carrying, some weight, and some of that weight is maybe part of their fair share of being part in the LPL. Part of it feels a little unfair given the failures of the region, of some of these significant teams on the international stage, that they have to be the ones to dismantle, to overthrow the LPL killers in T1, awaiting them in the lower bracket finals. So I think that is going to be, again, of course, a big challenge. Not to say that a perfect, unbeaten Gen G is not a challenge here in this one, but that's the type of level of challenges you're at right now when you're looking down the barrel of the lower bracket final, hoping to get yourself a spot in the winner's ticket.
And obviously both AL and T1 took Gen G to Game 5, so both have proven they can at the very least go toe-to-toe with Gen G and have the opportunity or potential to take them down. So not going to be a steamroll final either result, but I got to stick to what I said a couple days ago before T1 Gen G matched up. I saw the path, I saw the ultimate script for Riot, and that is Gen G beating T1 in that upper bracket final. T1 denying the LPL, getting the rematch, and ending Gen G's perfect run to win their first MSI title since 2017. I had the vision, Mark. I saw it.
You're seeing a path, but I want to lay out still a little bit more for Anyone's Legend and say that I think, one, Flandre versus Doran is going to be a lot more interesting than most people would expect, or maybe you put the label on.
People would need that matchup like 2 years ago, you would not be sniffing being near a final if you heard people talking about those two.
And I think especially with Fearless and the roles that these two play for their team, we're going to see some significant action, significant plays being happening from these top laners. And as well, Tarzan, the big storyline, getting his chance one more time against T1 redemption on the international stage. In a lot of people's minds, I think would be something you'd want to see. And then even looking down to the bottom lane, I think that Hope and Kael are an interesting angle, interesting option, one that is peaking and surging into this series against T1. But how does that match up against the proven synergy and execution and wins that we have seen from Guma and Kyria as a bottom lane?
It's obviously, more unproven versus proven on that international stage when we talk about T1. But either way, all these matchups, you can't go wrong when you're at this point of an event. And it just remains to be seen if we smash the 2.6 million peak viewers that we got out of T1 Gen G. Of course, if they meet in the finals, fully expect them to do that. But you're absolutely right. Do not be sleeping on anyone's legend. They've earned the respect of the global masses. But that is it today for Liga Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you. Absolutely gorgeous individuals. Thanks for hanging out, and we will catch you on that flippity flip.